As Missouri's best newscast, this is the Channel 9 News at 10.
I'm Donna Pittman. Over the last 70 years, stories from KMBC 9 News have made headlines across the country and around the world. One of those stories occurred just about an hour north of the metro in Cameron, Missouri.
If they determine that it is...
KMBC 9's Kelly Eckerman was the first to break the story in 2008. A mysterious cluster of brain tumors had been found in the area. Kelly's reports led to multiple investigations, including one by activist Erin Brockovich.
That they would receive topsoil and that it had come from a tannery. And see, that tipped us off right there.
Brockovich and her team discovered chromium-6, which has been shown to cause cancer. It was linked to waste from a St. Joseph tannery. That waste was then spread on farm fields in 4 counties as fertilizer for more than 2 decades.
I mean, as far as we knew, it was absolutely safe, because I sure wouldn't have done it and come out here and be in it all the time and have the horses and livestock against it. Nobody's going to do that.
Between 1996 and 2009, more than 70 people were diagnosed with brain tumors possibly linked to chromium-6.
Can you tell me what has happened to you and what's happening to you now?
In 1985, a man from Richmond, Missouri became an international sensation, called a hero for his actions during a 17-day hijacking of a TWA flight.
This one hijacker was standing right behind me, and he was holding his cocked pistol to the back of my head with one hand.
John Testrake was piloting the plane between Beirut and Algiers when a group of terrorists armed with guns and grenades threatened to blow up the plane if Israel did not release Arab prisoners being held in Lebanon. The ordeal lasted over 2 weeks, with Captain Testrake forced to make several flights at the terrorists' commands.
Homecoming, the return of Captain John Testrake.
When he and the other hostages were finally released, Testrake returned to Richmond, Missouri, and received a hero's welcome.
Captain Testrake, you're live on Channel 9. What do you think of this welcome? It's unbelievable. I can't believe it.
John Testrake died of cancer in 1996 at the age of 68. A longtime KMBC 9 News anchor also made headlines when she returned to her homeland.
Welcome to Cuba, ladies and gentlemen.
This was home.
It was 1998 when Maria Antonia traveled to Cuba to cover an historic visit from the Pope. While there, Maria had the chance to reconnect with family she hadn't seen for years. She, her mother, and her siblings had fled to America when Maria was just 6, leaving her dad behind.
I think I was 6 years old the last time I walked this street.
The conditions were horrible. No food, few clothes, no power after 9 p.m. Years later, Maria told KMBC 9's Brian Johnson it made her realize how lucky she was to have escaped.
I'm most grateful for this country for having allowed me to come here. Most grateful for my mother to have been brave enough to go through the process of getting us out of there.
For every season in Kansas City, there are really 4 seasons. But make no mistake about this one, it's time for tornadoes. And the weather can turn at almost any moment.
Let's get in the ditch. Where do we need to go? Let's get in the ditch.
A KMBC 9 crew learned how fast the weather can change in 2009.
The tornado initially took a east-northeast track.
Reporter Marcus Moore and photojournalist John Woods got caught on I-70 as a tornado touched down.
Yeah, it's gone.
They took cover in a ditch, along with others.
Me too. Oh, my goodness.
Amazingly, no one was hurt. I'm Chief Meteorologist Brian Busby. Kansas City weather has been my focus since joining KMBC 9 in 1985. From flooding to droughts, extreme winter weather, and of course, lots of tornadoes. One of the worst to hit the metro happened in May 1957. An F5 tornado tore through the Ruskin Heights neighborhood in the southeast part of the city. The storm's path was 71 miles long, stretching all the way from Williamsburg, Kansas. More than 800 homes and buildings were destroyed. 44 people were killed, and more than 500 were hurt.
It might have skipped just a little bit here.
It skipped into this area east of Parkville.
An F4 tornado struck the Northland in May 2003.
Outside our bedroom.
One of KMBC 9's own was caught in the middle of it.
This is our great room, right here.
The twister touched down over by what's now the Legends in KCK, moved through the Northland.
It's coming right at us. Get inside.
Damaging several homes.
I can't believe what I'm saying.
Just like several other people in the area.
I never thought this would happen to me. This is, you know.
KBC9 anchor Chris Katz and his family were out of their home for months as repairs were made.
I'm meteorologist Katie Horner. KBC9 News has been there for some of the Metro's worst flooding, including right here on the Country Club Plaza.
Like a lot of people, I was caught by the flood, but unlike a lot of people, I was able to get home across the plaza before the big wall of water descended.
September 1977. 6 inches of rain fell in just a few hours, causing flash floods of Brush Creek and the Blue River.
But what I saw was not nearly as shocking as that experienced by another Channel 9 crew, composed of Mike Horine and Bruce Smith. While wading in chest-deep water, they ran into 2 bodies.
25 people lost their lives, and more than 300 vehicles were washed away by the rushing water. This flood caused over $100 million in damage, mostly to the Country Club Plaza.
I'm meteorologist Neville Miller, and the weather in our area became a national headline in the early 90s when the Missouri and Mississippi rivers flooded.
By Friday, everyone wondered just how much more rain they could take.
The Great Flood of 1993 caused billions of dollars in damage across the Midwest.
This would be the first of many rescues.
KBC9 crews spent months covering the impacts. Entire towns north of the river were submerged in water. The flooding lasted from April through October, claiming the lives of 32 people.
I'm meteorologist Pete Grigsby. Snow and ice is nothing new to us in the Midwest, but in January of 2002, the Metro was not prepared for what was coming our way.
Most of the damage happened in the middle of the night, and with tens of thousands of people without power, this is what many saw and heard.
One of the most severe winter storms in Kansas City history, with ice 1.5 inches thick. The storm damaged nearly 500,000 trees. The ice also brought down power lines across the metro, leaving more than 350,000 people in the dark, some for as long as 2 weeks. Crews from 16 states came in to help.
Not all weather is gloom and doom. I'm meteorologist Nick Fender, and in 2017, I got to experience the great total solar eclipse with so many of you.
Here come the hot sauce!
Wow, look at how dark it is. Look at how bright, look at it changing. Wow, it is a ring of light. It looks like a halogen headlight on a vehicle. There's nothing else that I've ever seen in nature like it.
August 21st, 2017 was the first total solar eclipse in 38 years.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Cities like St. Joseph and Liberty were in the path of totality, where the sun was completely blocked out. Thousands of people from across the country came to our area to see it. It was an amazing experience.
Proof tonight that everything eventually comes to an end, but it was great while it lasted.
You know, I'm from Wisconsin. You'd think I know how to do this.
What goes up
Now, see, he can skate.
must come down,
That's
right?
And he can't.
It's been 7 decades, and we haven't stopped yet.
Here come the hot sauce!
We're celebrating 70 years of Kansas City and KMBC 9, and we're turning back the clock one more time.